Okay, good day, soldiers of the zombie apocalypse. This is the room that I created for our meeting areas for this is in Charlie Base. This is where I will be giving the briefing of the daily's mission, and at the end of the day, I will be giving a debriefing. We will come back and kind of hit the bullet points of what we did. Okay, so as for now, we'll sit down here, chill. We will go out and we will check 3 biomes today, and I'll go over the positives and negatives specific to that biome. This is geared for the first 7 to 14 days. After 7 to 14 days, your character will be a bit more suitable to kind of withstand the vigors of the more extreme clients. And you may have more clothing or whatever. You'll be able to modify, or you'll be able to adjust things as you go along, as your character gets stronger. But for the first 7 to 14, or even to 21 days, it's going to be very important that you consider the biome as part of your survival factor. And that is what this video is going to be for. And the first probably 3 videos of the series will be for. It'll be for the survival of the first 7 days, and as per the biomes. Today we will cover the desert, we will cover the burnt forest, and we will cover the snow. So I'm going to get up, get on the mini bike, and get out of here. And when we're done, I will come back here and we will do this. We will do the debriefing. So see you in a bit. Good evening, soldiers of the zombie apocalypse. Thank you for joining my Retired World series. This is the second edition of it. The first was basically just an introduction to the actual worlds that we'll be covering, or we'll be entering in. The design for this is going to be more as an instructional than a let's play. Right now I do got the zombies turned off. You will notice it is 048 or what was that, 1248? So basically I will not see zombies at night. I will not see zombies anytime. I still will run into bears and wolves and stuff like that. That's why I do carry a weapon still. I am pretty high level. I haven't looked in a long time, but you can see from my hit points and whatnot that this is day 58. This map I've played in 120 hours a day, so yeah, I don't have a whole lot of worries. But anyways, here we go. I'm going to start in the desert biome. The desert biome is probably the best biome in the game in the early part of the game, the first 7 days. You don't want to stay in the biome, but you want to be near this biome. This biome has all kinds of good stuff that'll help you survive. Starting with the number 1 thing in this biome, yucca. Yucca is a fruit. They call it a fruit. Looks kind of like a banana. You can eat it, which I'm full right now, so I can't eat. But you can eat it, and it is very little. It takes probably about, it takes a lot to fill you up. I want to say about 20, 25 at least to fill you up. So you got to collect a lot of it. You have to actually allot time to going around collecting yucca. The best way to get yucca is these plants right here, because you can simply pick them up. And I am using the PlayStation 4 controller, so my controllers will be different than what you have, but that will basically be your action button. You just pick them up. You don't you lose your stamina for doing it. These right here will also have yucca, but you will lose stamina as you're hitting it. And the regular little cactus will also have yucca. Again, you lose stamina when you're doing that. So what you want to concentrate mainly on the yucca. You can just pick up simple. Where's it? These right here. This is the number 1 thing in this game as far as food goes. Because it is so easy to get. And, well, there's blueberries, there's a bunch of things, but the yucca seems to be better than all the other ones. To me, it takes a lot to fill up on blueberries. I think it would probably take, I don't know, maybe 50 to 60 blueberries to fill up. So it takes a whole lot more. And corn and all that other stuff is just plain harder to find. So. Okay, so that covers yucca, which is about the most important thing in this biome. Uh, the second most important thing you will find in this biome is aloe vera. Actually, let me step back a minute. If you want to see what you can make with the yucca plant, it's not only the food, but it's also a drink. You can make yucca juice. Now, with yucca juice, you need a glass jar, which I do have one on the bike. Run back to the bike. And, oh great. Alright, you make yucca juice. Go to your yucca, go to your crate screen, recipes, yucca juice, craft. And that is basically the equivalent to water. It adds on your stamina, it adds on your hydration, and it adds on your wellness. Whereas, let's see, water, I did bring some water in here as well. Water. Water adds a little bit less on stamina and a little bit less on hydration. So it's actually better, yucca juice is better than water. It actually adds a little bit to your wellness. Now you get to this meat stew, which is kind of the premium food in this game. It adds +6 to your wellness. So this will barely get that wellness going, but it adds a lot to the stamina. There is kind of a secret to doing the yucca too, as far as when you are doing a lot of moving, keep your yucca in your toolbar and eat one every now and then to gain stamina. Don't just sit there in a corner and eat it, because you'll kind of waste that stamina gain. Eat it every now and then while you're moving around, and you'll get use out of that. Okay, the next most important thing in this biome is this right here, aloe vera plants. Aloe vera plants acts as bandages. You make an aloe vera cream. I gotta collect enough of it here. Again, you don't have to hit anything. You just use the action button and it picks it up. Very easy. When you're collecting for stuff in this biome, it's very simple. You just run around. You look for the three things you're going to be collecting, are the aloe vera, the yucca, and bird's feathers. So we'll get into bird's feathers in a minute. Okay, what you want to do first is go to the plant, go to recipes, aloe cream. You want to make the aloe cream first. It's always make this cream as fast as you can. Just keep it made. Keep turning your aloe vera into cream. Then you take your cream, recipes, first aid bandage. Okay, you have to have 2 cloth fragments and 1 aloe cream. These amounts could change depending on your level. I don't know, and that's something you'll just figure out as the game goes along. So then you craft it, and you have a bandage. So out of the desert biome, you have 2 of the most important things in this. 3 of the most important. You get drink, you get food, and you get something to heal yourself. As long as you have a good supply of all those things, you're going to do just fine in the first 7 days of this game. You will also find, see if we can see some. Bird's feathers and the good old bird's nest. if I can find one. Sure, everybody knows what a bird's nest is. Okay, right there, bird's nest. Open it up, and you get feathers, and that'll make your arrow. The downfall, though, is you can't get enough wood to actually make arrows in this biome. You can get rock. Oh, this is actually wood right here. These little noobs. That's wood, but it's not a whole lot of them. You can, if you hit enough of them, you can make enough to make some arrows, but you know you're not gonna make a killing with wood in the desert biome. Okay, so out of the desert biome, so far you've found food, drink, material for weapons. You could go through here, and you can actually, with the little we've collected, let's move on a little bit, because there's one more thing that we need to collect, which I just passed up another bird's nest. One more thing that you can collect here. It's more wood. Well, obviously the grass, and you need the grass. You need plant fiber, so it's here as well. And there are rocks. There are big rocks in here. I swear they're in here. There's the little rocks and the big rocks. Oh, and you run into cactus and you get hurt. There's one. There's not a lot of rock in this area, but you will find these random rocks laying around. Now these boulders right here have a little of everything in them. In the first 7 days, you don't need all this stuff. The only thing you need are the rock, and you can go through and you can make your arrows, and you can go through and you can make your wooden bow. Because out of the little noob things, these right here, that's where you're getting your wood. That's enough to start you off in the game. That's enough to get you past the first stage. These are also the little rocks you can get. As the game goes on, everything I just said becomes less and less important, though, because you're finding better ways to do things. You're finding better guns. You're finding better everything. Then what takes over is the most important part in this biome is sand. Sand is a big part of making cement. So it's very helpful to have an avenue to collect as much sand as possible. You can also make sand in your cement mixer, turning rock into sand. But I've done that from time to time, but I don't prefer to do that because it's digging in sand is so easy to do. It's much more effective to just dig it out of the desert biome than it is to do anything. And I will go into that until a later version or a later episode on mining. But sand should be your number one, or the desert should be your number one way to get sand. All right, so basically what you got in this biome, in the desert biome, you have absolutely everything to get you by the first 7 days. You have food, drink, weapons. The only problem with the desert is it's very unhospitable as far as the heat goes, the weather goes. So you're not going to want to actually stay in the desert. You're going to want access to a desert. You're going to want to be close to a desert. But that's all you're going to want. See how I'm, even at my level right now, I'm heat stroking. I'm at 110 degrees. So, and it's the middle of the night. If you do heat stroke, little pointer, go to your character. See, I'm wearing a lot of stuff right now. So that's the reason why you won't have that much stuff. What you do though is you just start taking off all your stuff. And some of the stuff will help you with your heat, so be careful not to take that out. So anyways, okay, I'm going to move on to a different biome, and that is the desert. The desert is, like I said, probably the most important. So here we go to the next. Okay, a real quick pointer, still in the desert. If you are lucky enough to be in desert near the water, there is something you can do to cool down. Run in the water, just to the very edge where you can actually run, and you will see my temperature go down. See how it's going down quickly. The water does cool you off quite a bit. It may slow you down a little bit, but it won't slow you down that much, not to where it's not worth it. So obviously if you got a mini bikes cannot go in the water. So you will not do that. But if you're running in the desert area, always run in the water if you're not collecting yucca and stuff. And if you're overheating, if you're having overheating issues. So that's just a little bit of a tip. And also in the desert, by the way, you will get the random drops of stuff, random trash bags and stuff like that for looting. So that is a resource that you will find in the desert. It's not premium. You won't find a whole lot of really good stuff in there, and it's a few and far between kind of deal. So, but good luck. That again, that is the desert. The next biome I want to cover is the burnt forest biome. The burnt forest biome is, if the desert is the best biome, which I wouldn't say the desert is the best biome, but it's kind of tied with maybe the forest, the regular forest biome. We'll go over that later though. The burnt forest biome is probably the worst. The problem with the burnt forest biome is it doesn't really offer a whole lot. You can get little pieces, you can get wood. Whenever you collect a tree out of a forest biome, if you notice it gives you coal as well, which is kind of cool, but coal is just not as useful as it should be in this game. It's good for gunpowder and a few other things, as well as you can put it in your forges and whatnot. If you hit this right here, you get coal and wood, all these little embers. So you can collect feathers rather easy in the burnt forest because the nests stand out really well. Only in the snow biome do nests stand out better. So you don't get a whole lot of plant fibers. It is there, and you can collect it there. But obviously, in a burnt biome, it would make sense that most of the grass and stuff is burnt. You will get occasional buildings, but there's not a lot of them. They may be destroyed, which isn't a bad deal. In the first few days, the destroyed buildings have less zombies in them, so sometimes it's a little bit better to loot a destroyed building than a good one. Obviously, you got your boulders again to collect your rocks. So you do got stuff to collect weapons. You got the wood, you got the rocks, you have the grass. You can make weapons. Now, this one right here is near a lake, so you can get water. Obviously, you need to have a way to boil your water, so you'll need to have a cooking pot at this stage if you're going to rely on water to drink. So that's where yucca is great, because you don't have to have your cooking pot yet. Whereas water, you have to have your cooking pot. So if you have a cooking pot, you can just take water from anywhere. Now, not every bit of burnt biome has a lake near it. That's just how it happens to be on this map. So that's really, the dangers of the burnt biome are you got the flaming zombies, the zombies that are on fire, and when they hit you, you catch on fire. Which at the level I'm at, it's not tragic, but when you're at low levels, that little extra burn damage can really be a pain. There's also, is it these right here you step on? One of these you step on and you can catch fire. It looks like say I'm on fire right now, basically. So I stepped on one of these. So you got to be careful for that. Again, when you got very little life, that's kind of important. So this biome has, I believe you're going to run into, you may run into wolves in this biome. I don't think any more than any other area. It's the flaming zombies mostly, and there's just not a lot here. It's just not a good biome. So in the early part of the game, I would stay out of this biome unless you absolutely have to. I would not put a base here, definitely. No reason for that. And I would only travel through it as much as I needed to. And if I were traveling through it, I would pretty much just look in front of me, making sure I'm not stepping on anything on fire, and collect the bird's nest. That's really all you need to do in here. So if you hit the ground too, I think You may get coal. I don't know. Guess not. So that's the burnt forest biome. Kind of a beware, just stay out of it. You don't really need it. If you need coal and you got something good to chop down trees, fine, go for it. But otherwise, not really that useful. Alright, and I will move on to the next biome I'm going to review today. Okay, another part of the burnt forest biome is it's got a characteristic as same as the wasteland, so we'll go over that later. These little buildings right here, this is the only good thing about these biomes, the wasteland and this one, is because there is very easy looting in here. There's a grill. That means you can cook more effectively if you got that. You find some of the best. I gotta put some of this stuff back on, even though I know I'm gonna overheat. Okay, you can find some of the best basic supplies in these little burnt out. That's not a very good basic supply. I don't know. I mean, if you got a chest, put it in there. But if you get a chance to hit up some of these little buildings like this, these are great. I love hitting them up. The cans like this, you can put water in them. There's obviously eggs. There's usually something here in the corner. There. So usually it's like 3. These chairs you can convert to wood. You can scrap them to wood. So it's kind of like a hot habit. Everybody picks them up. Wherever it went. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I should be doing that off camera, but I don't really need it. I just wanted to show you. So if you get a chance to hit those little burnt out houses, hit them up, because you're going to get some of the best early stuff, like cooking pots and bottles you will find in those things. So did I hit this one already? I think so. Where's 3? Thought there were 3. Okay, well, anyways, you get the idea on that. So I'm going to move on and, again, head on to the next biome. Okay, here we are in my probably my least favorite biome. This biome is never friendly. I'm overheating because I just came down to the burnt biome, but I'm gradually cooling down because I'm in the snow biome. The snow biome gives you a lot of things. It'll give you stone on these rocks. It has a lot of trees, so you can get trees. The problem is you get to freezing and you'll slow down, and you are just, there's a lot of little things like this in here. Small stone. One of the biggest dangers in this biome is the lumberjacks. The lumberjacks are really tough. They don't seem to be affected by the cold for whatever reason. You'd think zombies would be affected by the cold. So they have no any internal warmth, but anyways, they don't. You're going to get cold. You're going to suffer hypothermia. It's just not a good biome. Now, the only thing that is good about the snow biome is it's not too hard to find feathers when it's not actually snowing. When it's snowing like it is here, the snow is coming down, it's hard to find feathers because a feather looks like a rock and like all kinds of other stuff, trash. So it's kind of tough. Oh, these right here, by the way, these are good little loot spots in these snow biomes. So not like I need any of that stuff. You got all the rocks. You got this big rock right here. These rocks right here are mainly stone. Early in the game, they're just fine. You're not going to get the iron, as much of the iron, where there's one right there, or the nitrate or the lead or anything like that in this. You may get a little bit, but very little. Now, see, you can't find, it may have a little bit to do with its night too, but I don't think so. You can't find any bird's nest here real quickly. What you want to do is you want to hit up these snow biomes when it's not actually snowing at the time, and the bird's nest stand out. I'm going to go ahead and jump on the bike and move down a little bit and see if I can't find that to give you an example of it. Okay, I found an area here where it's not actively snowing, but it's still in a snow biome. And you will run across these, and you can see all the stuff in the ground sticks out like a sore thumb. See right there? So it's easy to collect bird's nest in these, in this type of area. So, but that's really about the only thing that you can collect that's worth anything. I mean, you can chop down trees, which is great, but you can do that in the forest section without hypothermia. And same with the plant fiber. The only thing that is a little bit different about the snow is you can get snowballs. If you look what I'm collecting, that's snowballs. It's not dirt. It is snowball. And when I get back to a fire, I will show you what a snowball does. Matter of fact, we might be able to bring it up now. Snow. 12 and... Do I got enough? Let me find my mini bag real quick and dump some stuff in there. See if I got anything I can dump. You know, I don't need a lot of this stuff. Please, makers of 7 Days to Die, Fun Pimps, make it to where you can eat as many as you want with one thing. You can just click like 12 or whatever. Okay, so I do got enough snowball. Let's make snow. And with snow, it's a source of water. So how many snows do you need to make water? You need 12. So you need a good bit of it. In order to make water. So you will be digging for a while. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go through with this process because I think it's worth it as far as showing you. Let me pause the video and I will come back to this. Okay, basically when I get back to the base I will cook up some water and show you how that is effective. But as far as this biome snow goes, if you're going to stay in the snow or go through the snow, hopefully it's not actively snowing because that's not good. You will find deer and stuff in the snow biome. You will find trees. There are some things to eat. There are some things to drink as far as making the snow and to drink. That is good. But the hypothermia is definitely not worth hanging out in the snow biome. Travel through it, get what you need, and get out. That's pretty much the best advice you can get for the snow biome. So that is, again, you will always find these little trash bags everywhere. So that's nothing special to any biome. So let me head on back to the base. I believe that's it. You basically get standard stuff out of here, nothing special, not really a place you want to be. Okay, you can take the snow and see, let's click on it, snowball, recipes, bottled water. You need an empty can and one snowball, and the interesting thing is you can do it without a cooking pot. You can do it without anything. So it's actually, as long as you got a can, you can cook yourself some water. So cook it, and there you go. You got fresh water. Now the dynamics is basically the same for The you could. Oops, what am I doing? Then the snow is basically the same. How can you do a thing of bottled murky water? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, you need a glass jar. You can do that in the glass jar. Bottled water, glass jar, snowball. Have 4. Need 1. Okay, I bet you'll need the cooking pot. Okay, in order to make bottled water out of snow, you need the cooking pot. So snowball is actually with the essentially snowball is with the can, and snow is with the glass. Kind of difficult. It would actually be easier to get the snowballs. What it really comes down to is in the first days you're going to get a lot of cans. You might not have your cooking pot, so if you can get snowballs and put them in the cans, that would be your best bet. And you could throw a fire down anywhere, so that's one of the easiest things to make. So there you go. You cook it up, and you got yourself bottled water. Drink it up. So your snow is a good source for water, and you just need to have cans. If you have cans and you have snowballs, that's the most basic way to get water out of the snow. Thanks for watching, though. I'm going to end this one at these 3 biomes. I want to keep these things short and sweet. Please leave a like, leave some comments, and subscribe. Thanks a lot. Y'all have a good night. Okay, that was a good 3 sections of this video, and we will now go through our debriefing section, which we will cover the ins and outs of each biome. First of all, we'll go over the desert biome. I'm also going to rate biomes from 1 to 10 as far as the first 14 to 21 days go. The desert biome is an 8 out of 10. It has everything you need to survive. The weather, the heat is an issue, but that can be survivable if you are on the edge of the biome and you can find a more survivable place to actually hole up, but just go to the desert biome to get what you need. So overall, I got to give it an 8 out of 10. It's one of the higher ranking biomes. Okay, the positives of the desert biome. Good source of food. The yucca will last you for you can survive on the yucca for the first 21 days, no problem. It's a lot of work to harvest it. You will spend a lot of time harvesting it, but you will not die. The second positive is, believe it or not, drink. The yucca will also be drink. It serves a better purpose for hydration than even water. So it's very recommended to use the yucca as much as you can in the first 14 days. I cannot emphasize that enough. The third positive is the use of the aloe vera. Will make bandages. Bandages and health things are very hard to find in 7 days to die in the first 14 days or so. So you have to use the yucca, you have to use it with cloth, and that is just right behind food and water is medical supplies in the first 14 days. So those 3 together make it where they're basically unbeatable. There's no other biome that will have all that stuff in it. Okay, there's an abundance of feathers, which is good. There's just enough wood to get you through the first week, but well, actually that's probably not true. That's to get you through the first couple of days with weapons. There you will find enough wood with the little logs on the ground. Okay, now the negative of the desert. The negative of the desert is the heat. You cannot survive in the heat. You will find towns in the desert, but you will not want to stay in those towns to fight because you will overheat and there's a good chance that you will get killed. So avoid towns in the desert until you get high enough in level to where you can kind of discount some of the problems with stamina and the lower health. So I would not loot in the desert in the first 14 days. I would just other than picking the yucca, but that's technically not looting. So the heat's a major issue. Do not loot in the desert. You can dig in the desert and very easily, but so can the zombies. So you don't want your base to be underground in the desert right away. Not until you get to a point where you can dig down deep enough and you can put a cement cap over it and whatnot. So then you'd be okay. But initially, don't be putting any kind of small base down in the desert. You want to be again, I can't stress enough. You want to be on the edge of the desert. Okay, now we're going to go to the burnt biome. The burnt biome is on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably about 4. It's got good wood. You can get enough wood there to make your crates. You can get or to make your frames, to make all your wood blocks. So you can essentially get enough material to make your base in your first base in the burnt forest biome. Unfortunately, you don't want to stay in there though. The burnt zombies can wreak havoc on you. You're going to overheat in the burnt biome just as much as, well, maybe not just as much as the desert, but you will overheat in there. It is hot. So you won't find a lot of food. You may find the little POIs that are very lootable. That's the biggest benefit of there, is if you can find those little POIs, you can find some good stuff and they're easy to loot. So if you get a chance to hit on those, that's fine. Go ahead and do that, but don't hang out in the burnt forest, because there's just too many other biomes that'll give you what's in the burnt forest. And you probably, as the game goes on, you will never really make much of a living going into the burnt forest. There's just not enough in there for you. Positives would be coal. You can get coal out of trees, and like I said, there's plenty of wood generally in a burnt forest biome. The bird's nest are fairly easy to see in the burnt forest biome because the ground is bare. Let's see what else. That's really it. There's not a whole lot of positives, and the negatives are going to be the heat. There's a higher percentage of danger being but there's more buzzards, I believe, in the burnt forest biome. Like I said, the flaming zombies are just not any fun to hang around in those first weeks. Okay, so that's the burnt forest biome. The final biome we're going to talk about today is the snow biome. The snow biome, on a scale of 1 to 10, has got to be pretty much about a 2. You can't survive in there. You're gonna freeze. It will kill you. Being in the snow will kill you unless you're standing right by a fire. It will slow you down so much that you can't fight. As you saw in the video, if the snow is coming down, you can't loot very good on the ground either, because everything's covered up. The biggest danger in the snow biome is going to be random zombies in general, but the lumberjack he's big and strong, and you don't want to mess with him. Let's see what else. The positives are you can get the water. We saw how you can get the snowballs, and you can turn that to water with just a can, and you don't need anything else. So it would be nice to actually know where a snow biome is in the early stages, to where you could go ahead and go get you some water, and you could cook it in a can, as opposed to almost everything else you have to cook it in a glass. So that's a good positive. There are deer, there are random animals in the snow biome. It is as far as that goes, it's a biome that will have that kind of stuff, but it's not worth it. So out of those 3 biomes, the biome you're going to want to hang out with is the desert biome for sure, and you're going to want to live in a friendlier biome, which we'll cover the other biomes later. So I hope that's a help to you. And the next video I will cover 3 more biomes. So go ahead, please leave a like, subscribe, and leave some comments. Thanks, and have a good day.